Over the years, Cooper Farms has grown a lot. When we were kids, it was just a picture of what it is today.
Cooper Farms was founded and built on family values, and I'd say that still exists today. But obviously the company is significantly different. We've been in a growth phase for the entire 85 years.
I started back here right out of college, and we were a lot smaller. We had like a fraction of the amount of team members that we do now.
In my mind, I was always coming back to Cooper Farms. I really never thought about working anyplace else.
I knew that I always wanted to come back because this is our legacy. This is Cooper Farms. This is what Grandpa started, what my uncles and mom continued, and I wanted to continue that legacy.
When I was a little kid, if you would go up to the Oakwood Library, the part of the library that lays right next to the bar was the Cooper Hatchery. In the back, it had like 3 or 4 incubators and a hatcher or 2. And so we actually hatched poults right in the middle of downtown Oakwood.
And if Dad needed help, as us kids got older, he would come in and tell us that it was our turn to come out and work. He always paid us, we might get $1 for coming out and work.
We were 6, 8, 10, 12 when we first started working for Dad, and we were driving pickups and tractors long before we were supposed to, even to town.
You learn to tray eggs, and you learn to do most everything.
When I was a kid in the 60s, Dad had seasonal help. Actually, I can remember, in the weekends, in the summer and stuff, they would come into the house and Mom would cook lunch for them. They would eat with us at our dinner table, and then we'd all go back out and take care of the turkeys.
Dad was always a great guy for knowing the business. He never went to bed at night that he didn't come down and check out the incubators. So he was dedicated to the business.
If he needed help in the hatchery, he went uptown and pulled them off the street. If the young boys were out doing whatever, he'd say, hey, I need some workers. You come out and I'll pay you.
When we came back to work for Dad, the company was a little different then. We had 33 employees, we had 2 breeder farms, and we had this hatchery right here.
But as we kept expanding the turkey business, the hatching, we started growing more turkeys. We bought 50% of the St. Clair feed mills from the Stalger brothers.
We went from having no contract farmers to everything we raised was raised by a contract farmer. The contract growers from day one have been important, and we've always tried to work very closely with them because everything evolved around them. Without them, we wouldn't have any turkeys, we wouldn't have any pigs, we wouldn't have any chickens because they're all grown by contract farmers.
Even while I was just a little kid, people would say, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And a lot of people would say, well, I want to be a fireman or I want to be a policeman. And I always said, I want to farm. There are days that I wish I'd done something else. But then for the most part, I can't think of a more rewarding career than what I've had.
As a kid, I remember going down here to check hogs with Dad, and now my 2-year-old daughter does the same. It's hard to get her out of the turkey barn. She just doesn't want to leave. She enjoys it just as much as I do.
It's a lot of fun being able to work with my kids, to be able to enjoy the same occupation.
As a father, you always hope your kids, follow in your footsteps a little bit. It's always been my dream that they'd take over and make a bigger success than what I did out there.
My wife Kim and I made the decision to build our own turkey barn. And the main reason that I wanted to do that is for my kids, to teach them some work ethic and to instill in them what I learned as a kid growing up, having to go out there every day and take care of the turkeys and do those daily chores.
I hope these guys can continue to grow and raise a family.
We've got 3 generations of families that have been raising animals for us. Usually it's the really exceptional growers that do that carry that on through their families, and they're passing the good knowledge of what they've learned in their 30 years to the next 30 years to the next 30 years.
The commitment of having to check the birds, make sure things are working right, it allows for a sense of pride. I know my brother, my dad, and my other brothers too, they all feel that whenever we can go out there and say, these are our barns, we're raising turkeys the right way, we're doing it the right way, and we want to see it succeed just like Coopers do.
When people can come to work and be proud of what they do and proud of the company that they represent, it makes it easy for people to go into work every day and for the next generation to want to follow suit and to work at the same place. And I think we've seen that in many different families.
My wife works at the plant, and I'm here, and my daughters both worked at Coopers growing up. They've been a blessing to my family, I mean, really.
There's plenty of people that I talk to every day that have been here for years, and they've contributed to it staying the way that it is because they've all kind of grown up in this company together.
Without those families, we wouldn't be anything. We wouldn't be where we are today.
I have worked at Cooper Farms for 45 years. I'm a turkey production manager.
I've worked at Cooper Farms for 34 years. And my son started 8 years ago, and that means a lot to me.
I started out at probably the age of 12 or 13 working out catching turkeys, and then just worked through the company my whole life. I worked with poultry, I drove a feed truck, I worked in the feed mill.
Growing up, seeing Dad working at Cooper Farms, they were always willing to help out. You know, when I was younger, I'd be able to come to work with Dad and jump in the feed truck. They were pretty flexible with him trying to raise 2 young kids.
I've been here 9 years, from then to now. Just the Cooper family's been tremendous. Not just me personally, but with my family.
This company is 100% family-based, and that is what I love.
The Cooper family is the most generous family I have ever met. So they do so much for their team members and for the community.
The Coopers have grown so big, so large, so fast, but they're yet a very humble, good company to work for.
And you just see how good they take care of people and the community, and it makes you appreciate and want to be part of that.
No company around here does half the things that Coopers does for you.
The atmosphere all around has been tremendous from what I've seen through my whole life and then also while working for Coopers too.
I guess if you've been through what I've been through in the last 3 or 4 years, to have Coopers have my back, have my kids' back, my grandkids' back. Nobody could ask for more.
The fact that the Cooper family works amongst us and you see them, you know their faces, you know who they are. That really means a lot.
And I think them having a physical presence in the business as well, like not just, you know, Gary, Jim, and Diane themselves, but their kids and their kids' kids.
You know the owners, like it's Jim and Gary and Diane's here, Luke's here, Cole has been here, Heather has been here, so you know the family.
They do work from the ground up to make sure that they know the company. They don't just walk in and say, I'm your boss and take over.
If one of our Cooper family members wanted to come to work for us and they also wanted to eventually move into some leadership positions, we wanted them to understand the business from the bottom up. They're supposed to be doing out in the production, whatever it is, whether it's loading turkeys or it's out on the boning line or it's pulling hatch at the hatchery or gathering eggs.
To jump in there and be able to work with people, not just them work for you, but you work with them is very important.
To understand what happens in each location.
From the barns to the end of the processing line at Van Wert, all of those jobs are important, and if we wouldn't have learned those things, the knowledge base wouldn't have been there.
It's one thing to be family owned, but it's another thing to be family owned and involved.
My hope for the future always has been is to keep it growing and have the family take it over.
I have a hope that Cooper Farms can remain a family-owned business. I've got 2 son-in-laws currently involved in the business. I've got 9 grandchildren.
And I would hope someday that my 2 sons take an active role in the company.
And when I think about my daughters, if they end up working for the company, there's no doubt in my mind that they would love to be surrounded by their cousins.
To be able to say that they work with their family every day and their grandpa did it, you know, their mom and dad did it, now they're doing it, and maybe that continues on the legacy all the way through to their kids.
That's essentially why we all work here, right? Because You know, our father worked his entire life, you know, as well as our uncle and our aunt and our cousins. I mean, you know, so they've dedicated their entire life to building this company. And so obviously we want to be part of continuing that moving forward, and we'd like to see it pass to generations to come.